the most incoherent state of all in human body is what? What do you think? Well, there is, kind of, there is no music whatsoever. But while we are still alive, cancer is the most incoherent state. Cancer creates the most chaos in our music, in our vibration. And after that, it's only that. That's it. Yeah, you got one step further. So that's kind of the interesting thing. The vibrations of the most perfect order. You know what condition creates? That marching order. MS, multiple sclerosis. And that has been done, the study has been done when Fritz Albert Popp discovered first that human bodies create light, can actually generate coherent light. He studied patients with cancer and patients with different conditions, and that's what he found, that cancer clients produce the most incoherent light, and MS creates that perfect, marching, rigid order. So that's MS, which is not good either. So, we already know that state of health is basically a state of coherency when body orchestra plays its symphony of life. Now, what do you think coherency will depend on? Coherency depends on how well structures in the body communicate with each other, right? Or instruments in orchestra. The better communication, the more harmonized everything will be. The body communicates through several different ways. We know kind of standard ways of communication. Our nervous system is system of communication. That's why it's our wires, right? They're hardwired through the nervous system. We also communicate through hormonal system and energy system through channels and meridians. So these are three parts of the system of communication which we know about. Conventional medicine mostly studies nervous system and hormonal system or humoral system. Doesn't study much energy system. Channels and meridians of energy flow are still kind of the main of acupuncture, right? But now conventional medicine starts also to take it into consideration and actually have charts of channels and meridians of energy flow. So energy part, humoral part or substance, molecules, and electrical impulses that running along the nervous fibers. That's what wires us, that's what connects parts of our body to each other. But actually, if we look at that, it's a pretty damn slow ways of communication. Imagine if one molecule is released in one part of the body, how long will it take to get to the part where it should carry a message? Even electrical impulse running along the nervous fibers take a long way to get to where it should go. Energy kind of flows faster, but it's still not fast enough to create that complexity of activities that we do. I compare to a dial-up connection. So it is a connection, but it's slow as a dial-up. Now, the body does have internet too, high speed. And this high-speed internet is coherent light. Body communicates through light, and that's a main way of communication. The body emits coherent light and it transmits coherent light. It can receive it and it can spread in our body almost instantly. Coherent light is responsible for our complex functions of our body. Well, when we get out of coherence, when our waves get out of sync, then our communication breaks down and then we get ill because our organs do not know how to respond, or their response is too slow, it's not adequate. When no communication happening is the worst. When no communication happening, that's when cancer happens. Cancer, as you know, it's normal body cells. They just don't receive the messages from the rest of the body. The body doesn't know that it's growing, and the tissue doesn't have any regulating influences from outside. So it's kind of isolated part of the body that grows on its own. So what is broken down, it's communication that's broken down, nothing else. Restore the communication and the body can deal with that. Now, that's the nervous system, that's how it looks, right? All the wires. Now we have endocrine system or hormonal system, we're not going through the details of it, we just have it. We have energy system of channels and meridians, and now we have our high-speed internet, which Fritz Albert Popp discovered that bodies, human bodies, or living systems emit coherent light. And molecules in our bodies speak to each other on the language of oscillating frequencies. Each molecule has its own signature vibration. And that's the basics of many treatment systems, like QXCI, for example, or Life System. They detect the vibrations, the signature vibrations of a certain substance. And that's how they let know if this information is present in the body or not. You just expose the body to certain vibrations. In principle, radionics is the same thing. Now, what is the source of coherent light in the body? So it has been found that DNA actually is the one responsible for emitting of coherent light. DNA in our body works as a tuning fork that produces certain frequencies which certain parts of our body will be resonating with. You know the principle of tuning fork, right? You put a certain vibration and then you see if the structure will resonate. So DNA can produce certain frequencies that different parts of our body will be resonating with, and then another frequency and other parts of our body will be resonating with that. That's how DNA orchestrates, like a conductor, the symphony that our body plays by emitting certain signature vibrations, by creating the tuning fork effect. Now, what is interesting is how do we transmit that light? How do we transmit those oscillating frequencies? And we found that has been found that in the body there are certain structures that are similar to fiber optics. And these structures are actually in the connective tissue. Connective tissue was originally named connective because it connects different organs. It was pure coincidence that actually connective tissue is the one responsible for communication in the body. There are structures called microtubules in the cells, especially in the cells of connective tissues. Microtubules virtually look like fiber optics. They have certain proteins, they called tubulins, and they have the water inside the tubules, which is not a simple water, it's a structured water. This water is coherent. Well, let's see. Water is a structure that is well studied, and it's a very unique structure too. Water in the human body, as well as outside of human body, is capable of creating what we call coherent domains in the molecules, and is capable of creating the state and carry the state of coherency just by itself, as well as state of incoherency. The water can be influenced by information from outside, not just physical influence, but information. We all know this wonderful studies done by Japanese scientist Emoto, and his wonderful book about the water and pictures. Then he would expose the water to certain information and then freeze that water and look at the snowflakes that are formed. So snowflakes would look like this, right? On the bottom you see the water that from that book, from his book, that was exposed to positive influences, to the word of love, to the song lyrics, the beautiful song lyrics, to love and gratitude, to peace. And on top you will see, well, heavy metal exposure, simple tap water that didn't have any exposure, and water that was exposed to the expression "you make me sick." When we think that we are 75% water, right? Our body. So we want our body, the water, to look like the one on the bottom. The one that was on top, that's where we got sick. You make me sick, you will be sick, right? Because your water will be like this. And that's what we don't want to. So now, start thinking about your body as that domain of substance, energy, and information that's supposed to be coherent. And if water in our body would be frozen, it should look like this. So whatever influences from outside you're exposed to, or you expose yourself to, make sure that they will create water like this, considering that the water is open to information too, not just physical influences on your body. Now, when we are coherent, when our water forms beautiful snowflakes, our body creates this condition of what we call superradiance. It means that coherent light generated in one part of our body can instantly be transmitted to the other part of the body, and we become virtually radiant. And self-induced transparency, we're transparent to the light. So light can go all the way through, delivering messages from one part of our body to the other part of our body instantly. And if this happens, then of course each molecule will communicate with each other molecule in the body. There is no blockages of information flow. Now if you think of disease, don't you have an image of something like something dark, something round, dark, somewhere on it, right? Somewhere in the middle, so that prevent light from going through? We will be talking about it later on. And we have this image of disease being an energy cyst. And that's what it is. It's a dark energy cyst that prevents light from going through. So light has to go all the way around and find the detours. And that slows down communication in the body. When communication in the body slows down, all your responses of your natural healing is becoming slow. And when it's becoming slow, you develop what? Dis-ease. So that's kind of basics of what is happening when we develop diseases. In normal condition, when you have this coherent state of life and health and joy, you are self-transparent and you're radiant. You know, when you say, people say, oh, you look radiant. You do. Now, we already talked about the condition when the body is healthy. It has this constancy of internal environment, of this constants in the body. It's called homeostasis. There's kind of a little funny picture that shows you a piece of broccoli, smiling piece of broccoli, that creates a condition of homeostasis. It's a lot to this picture. We are not going to stop on it, but it just shows all the relationship between the different molecules and inside and outside, and what is happening and how the homeostasis is being supported in the body. So now, everything that improves communication in your body will improve your health, will contribute to your state of coherency. So assess your life, assess your daily activities from a point of view of, does it contribute to my coherency or it doesn't? Let's see. On a spiritual level, what helps us to keep the state of coherency? We're coming to the notion of faith, right? It is extremely important to have faith. And there is a very good expression which I really like. If you can see it, faith is not in believing that God will help you, it's in knowing that God will. Feel the difference? Belief is not enough. Belief is good than non-belief, but it's not enough. Real faith comes when you just know. And you know, you all saw a movie Secret, right guys? The Secret. How to transform your life and how to create things that you want in your life. How to manifest things things will be manifested when you know that it's going to happen. Not when you believe that it's going to happen. It's just you know. You already see it. You can taste it. You can feel it. You can almost have the, that sensation of being there, feeling it. Then it's going to happen. Because you already created that reality. You already know it's going to happen. So there is a difference between knowing and believing. So let's just get it. Because when you're healing from a serious disorder, DJ, you probably will agree with me. You just know that you're going to be better. You just know it. There is no other way. It's not oh yeah, I believe I will be better. No, I am getting better. I am better. I'm getting better. I am better. I'm already there. Already done. Already done. That's a big difference. So, guys, just remember it when you put that intention to transform your life. So you already you have to start seeing the final result and feel it, smell it, touch it. The final result needs to be there. You already there. Then you will be there. Now, very important on a spiritual level to find out who you are and what do you do in this life and to be comfortable with that. We are not staying on that topic because we all probably know it by now, but it is extremely important to be in peace with yourself. And until you find out who you really are and what you're really here to do, you will get diseases and disorders deriving from that you are not really in your place. And I believe DJ will talk to you about that too tomorrow. So that's very important to find out who you really are and what is your function in this life and what you are here to do. Now, our spiritual experiences come out of into creativity. So be creative. Put yourself into arts, into whatever your heart desires. Dance, paint, sing, whatever you want to do. And my favorite, indulge your senses. I believe that our 5 senses are given, or 6 senses are given to us to enjoy it. And if you look at the piece of pastry and, you compare, okay, that many calories and the joy of having it in your mouth. I'm going for the joy. I don't. I will burn these calories some other way. I will burn these calories. Maybe I will write something. It will take my, mental energy. Well, I'm not really a fan of physical exercise. Not proud of it, but I'm not a fan of it. So I will burn these calories some other way. But the joy of, having that in your mouth. Yeah. So I think we should indulge our senses in every possible way. That's my belief. And I'm sticking to it. Now, on the mental level. Power of intent. We already talked about that. Imagine what you want and go for it. And put all your intention into it. Feedback. Extremely important for you to know if you are on the right track. You're doing something, you have certain ideas, but how do you know that they are really doing what they're supposed to do? We will be studying it later, but we are creatures that work on the principle of feedback constantly. So we are cybernetic schemes working on the principle of feedback. So no matter what you do, try to get the feedback. Ask. If you try to do something for others, ask questions. Are you really doing what you're supposed to do? Like we want, guys, you give us feedback if we are doing our job right, or what you would like us to do better, and how we can better serve you. So your feedback is extremely important, not just for the information purposes, but for the purposes of us being coherent, okay? So we rely on you with this regard. On emotional level, of course, love and joy. Fill your life with love and joy. Love is the most coherent vibration of all. It's unconditional love is the pure, coherent vibration. Lots of people heal themselves from dreadful diseases just switching to the spiritual state of unconditional love. And when we are talking about that, unconditional love, not just for life, planet, others, It's yourself. You start with yourself, loving yourself first. When you do that, you can love others. But unless you love yourself, nothing is gonna happen, because you don't know how to love others if you don't love yourself. Logically? Logical? Logical. Start with yourself. Go to the mirror every morning and say, well, am I look wonderful or what? I'm so good. Guys, I'm not kidding. Well, when I went through our psychology training, because I did go when at the age of 40, I decided to get a second degree and went to learn psychology. So that was, we did that exercise for a month. We were laughing at it, but they actually forced us to do that 15 minutes every day. 5 minutes in the morning, during the day, and then the end of the day. Stand in front of the mirror and say, well, am I wonderful or what? I did this, look how good I am. Look, I did that. Look, oh, I love my hair, you know. Oh, look at this color of eyes, you know. And find in yourself good things that you really enjoy and, you know, pump it up. Kind of disregard things that you don't like in the beginning, but just bring up the things that you do like in yourself and start building them up. And go to the end, affirmations, constantly positive affirmations. Well, I love myself because, well, if you need proof, then tell yourself, why do you love yourself? Because you're so damn good in what you do. Because you know, brought up these wonderful kids. Because, you know, you're taking care of your house. Because you're taking care of your husband. And because you selected such a wonderful dog. You know, whatever you can find, what you can love yourself for, just build it up, build it up, build it up. And after a while, it becomes a habit. After a little while, it becomes natural. In the beginning, it's so awkward. It's just so awkward. But after a little... Huh?
How do you get your desk in the door?
Well, you know, what I did, I put mirrors all over my house. I did it. And I still keep it. I mean, I don't have that many now, but I still love mirrors around my house. And when I just walk in the mirror, look at myself, I look good. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Well, honey, come through.
I'm walking around like and she's just right out.
But after a while, that's how the world will be looking at you. It's how you look at yourself. The world will reflect your opinion of yourself always. So just do it, guys. You cannot, even no matter how awkward it sounds, it's such a valuable exercise because it builds your self-esteem, and self-esteem is a cornerstone of your personality. There's nothing more important in this life for you than your self-esteem. Then you are calm. Then you are confident. Then you can radiate that into the outside world, and you are not constantly looking for validation from others. You don't have this hungry self-esteem that constantly needs validation from outside world, constantly needs to be fed up by admiration, by power. Then you are not searching for power, for anything. Well, you're happy with yourself. Why would you care about what others think about you? And it just saves you so much frustrations and grief, and you wouldn't believe. So this simple thing is probably one of the most important things you can do for yourself. So we did it for a month, and then it became a habit. And that was even, they say, if out of the event or experience you come out with one idea, just one idea, that you will carry with you through your lifetime and will create a major difference, it was worth doing. So when I went for my training, well, I got much more ideas, but that was one that literally create major difference in my life, and that's why I'm telling you, do it, just do it. It cannot be simpler than that, and yet so powerful. So love and joy, okay? Now, if you love yourself, then most of your fears go away, and fear is your hell. Unconditional love is your paradise, it's your heaven, and your fears is your hell. Because you create yourself heaven and hell on earth. by what you experience, right? So the more fears you have, the more in hell you live. So just approach it one by one and see if they have any grounds. And if they do, just deal with that. One way or another. Just face it. Just do it. Build up some self-esteem already there. Now we are on the physical level. And of course, we will be talking about physical a lot. We are not stopping about that. But what we are talking about here is coherency. So anything you are putting inside your body, approach from point of view, is it coherent or not? Is it contributing to my coherency or not? And if not, you can change it, or you can not let it happen. We will be talking about the concept of garden within. It's actually when you start looking at your terrain, at your physical body as a beautiful garden, then you can literally think if you want to put a Diet Coke into it or not. Really. If you want to smoke a cigarette, not. Because what are you doing to your garden that is within you? Yeah, just think about that. Now, one of the most probably powerful ways that the Mother Nature provided us to keep the state of coherency, of course, there are coherent things outside, like we can walk on a barefoot on the grass and get the energy, coherent energy from Mother Earth. We can hug a tree. We can drink the coherent water of mountains. We can swim in the ocean. It's a very coherent thing. We can bathe in the sunlight. Will be a very coherent thing. But one of the most coherent things you can do is to connect to the other coherent being. Mother Nature provided us with a mechanism to heal each other in interaction. And we naturally do that instinctively. We do that when our child is sick. What do? We grab our child and we put skin to skin, right? To change to share our coherency with the incoherent system. When our loved one is sick, what do? We hug them, skin to skin. Skin contact is like the closer the better. And of course energy will go through the clothes, but still. Guess what our pets do? Right? Our kitties and doggies, what they do when they feel that something is not right with us? They jump right on our chest, and well, we have a wonderful little cat that every time that we are stressed, well, she would go. She loves Dr. David, so she would sit right on his heart chakra, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Xena is the one, the warrior princess. She would sit right on here, and that purring sound, one of the most coherent sounds ever. The purring cat. Our dog will come and start licking you and licking physical contact again, sharing their coherency. So any kind of, or horses are one of the most coherent probably. Jill, you know, right? That's the most coherent animals ever. So that communication with horses heals people. It's that what happens. We can be source of coherent vibrations to each other too. And many practices, like Reiki practice, for example, is based on it. So you do Reiki, you put your hands, your energy, you connect your energy field with the energy field of others, and that's how you change the vibrations. So that's the principle of Reiki, right there, when you connect energy fields. We can do exchange of energy and stabilizing each other's energy field on spiritual level, on emotional level, and on physical level too. Now, on a physical level, physical contact is not always possible for us to have, but in order to supplement that, we have our machines, right? And that's what we have. we have our little scanners, our little lasers, which can connect us to our client. And through that little connection, we can help our clients on a spiritual level, on an emotional level, and now also on a physical level. So you will be kind of a priest for your client, psychologist, right, and the doctor, of course. So on every level, you will be communicating with a client in order to make that faster. And client, when I say client, I'm a practitioner. So to me, who I work with is a client. But when we are talking notion, homeschool or healthcare, it will be your friends, your loved ones, your children, your spouses. It's not really a client. But when I say client, it's just someone I work with. It's a client. Now that's kind of what we're going to do now. We're going to do a little exercise. Because this is how interaction happens. First, two systems come in contact with each other. One is coherent, another one is not. Coherent vibrations, incoherent vibrations. Energy fields blend. Now, we have joint energy field, which is already different from two fields separately. Now, this field, for a while, becomes unstable, incoherent. It does this. But then, because now it's a stronger field, it naturally stabilizes on the more coherent order. And now general field becomes coherent. And now when it becomes coherent and harmonious, parts can separate. Now each one keeps the coherent state. Got that, guys? Why is that important? Because we often say, as practitioners, am I picking up bad vibrations from a client? I don't feel quite right. You're not picking up. There is no such thing as bad energy. It's incoherent energy, energy that is not organized well. But energy is energy, it's good. Any energy is good. So all you need to do is to transform that energy. You don't have to get rid of it, you just have to transform it. And transformation of energy happens in interaction. So when you, as a stronger system, blend with your client, you help your joint energy field for a little while will become unstable. But you are a practitioner, you're strong enough in order to stabilize this general field. And as the general field is stabilized, you can disconnect, you both will be coherent. Why is this important? It's because when we start working with our tools, scanners, lasers, even though we rely on the machines, but we still approach a system. So we still apply a machine to the system, and our energy field blends with the client's energy field in the meanwhile, right? In that very moment. So what is happening is that we create the condition when our client's energy will be unstable a little bit, but our tool, our laser or scanner, will create a connection, fast blend of two fields. Intuitively, because your field is already blended with the client's field, you already know what your clients know. So if you're intuitive enough, if you're open-minded enough, you get the mind off whatever preoccupied it is preoccupied, you can feel your client. You can virtually feel where your client needs help. And then you can forget about all the protocols and techniques and just do what you feel like is doing right. And that's what's a little exercise that we're going to do now. It's a little exercise called intuition exercise, and it's for those who didn't work with our machines yet. But for those who already did, you don't have to do it because you already know. But who did not, people have sometimes a little fear of the electronics of the machines, and they know, well, if I take this little thing, I turn it on, where do I put it? Well, maybe I will put something and I will do something wrong, and I will create some harm, and what is the right way of working with this thing? And this little exercise is saying there is no right or wrong way. No matter what you do right. just imagine that your machine, if it's a scanner or laser for that, it doesn't really matter, is just extension of your hand. Just imagine there is no machine, it's just your hand is a little different than the other one. So approach your client, feel the energy, and just ask a client whether would they like, to be helped, and just put your hand with a machine in it where you think is right. Forget about techniques. Forget about all the recommendations of the methodology. Just put your hand where you think is right, and do with your hand what you think is right. If you want just to keep it, keep it. If you want to start massaging, start massaging. If you want to tap, tap. If you want to stroke, stroke. Whatever you feel is right. And after a little while, when you think is enough, it's enough. And just ask your client if it's enough. At this point, for those guys who didn't work with some of the pieces of our equipment, you don't know what you're dealing with. You don't know the machine yet. So this exercise is actually for you to get rid of the fear that you will do something wrong. Because you will see that no matter what you do, if you just follow your intuition, if you just follow your gut feeling and principle of systemic interactions, you will help. You will create a difference, no matter what you do. Ready to a challenge? Good, good. So I will go ask our girls to get you the machines, and you guys, our suggestion, you already have your machines here, right? Whoever. So you get your machines, you get into pairs, who wants to work with whom, and then we just do that. Suggestion, who has scanners but don't have lasers, we have a few lasers for you to get, so do a laser. Who have lasers but don't have scanners, do scanners. So do the machine that you don't have.